You're with the hard facts brought to you straight from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Viewers, after targeting the Adanis last year, the shadowy self-styled whistleblower Hindenburg has now hit India's market regulator SEBI and its chairman Madhabi Butch. A report put out by Hindenburg a few months after SEBI issued show cause notice to the entity claims that the investigation by the SEBI, or the Security Exchange Board of India, into Adani's alleged stock manipulation was covered up due to a conflict of interest that extended to the very top of the board. The Hindenburg report suggested, alleged, call it what you want to, that Madhabi Butch held directly or indirectly a stake in the Adani-linked offshore firm that she investigated as part of a high-powered committee. Madhabi Butch and the SEBI have rubbished the report. Here, in summary, viewers, are the allegations and the clarifications. So let me take you through them on your screens. Hindenburg's charge: SEBI chair and husband held a stake in offshore funds used by Vinod Adani, hinting therefore, viewers, at a conflict of interest. The SEBI chief has responded by saying that the investment was made in 2015, 2 years before Butch became SEBI chief. Let's look at the next accusation. After joining SEBI, says Hindenburg, Butch purportedly sought to redeem the units held with the fund. SEBI chief responds by saying no hesitation in disclosing funds, finance are an open book. Viewers, there is another charge. SEBI has taken no action against other suspected Adani stakeholders. This is what Hindenburg has had to say in their report. The response coming from the SEBI is that these allegations are baseless and the insinuations without fact have been made in the report. Hindenburg has also gone on to allege that it doesn't think the SEBI can be considered an objective arbiter in the Adani matter because of this alleged quid pro quo. The SEBI chief and SEBI have both responded saying that this is an open attempt at character assassination. The BJP that was accused by the opposition, which quickly, once again, piggybacked on the Hindenburg report. And in principle, leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi alleged that the BJP covered up the alleged quid pro quo and therefore stood also to gain, has lashed out at the Congress. Listen in, viewers.
The Congress party, its allies and its closest allies, the Toolkit gang, have conspired together to usher in economic anarchy and instability in India. In their pathological hatred against Narendra Modi ji, led by Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his friends, Toolkit gangs, Congress party today has developed a hatred against India itself.
The savings of millions of Indians, hard-earned, honestly earned savings, are at risk. It is therefore imperative that this matter is investigated. Retail investors, honest investors, pensioners have three questions. The first, why has Chairperson Madhabi Butch not resigned? Second, God forbid something were to go wrong and investors were to lose their money. Who is responsible? Is the Prime Minister of India responsible? Is Madhabi Butch responsible? Or is Mr. Adani responsible? And finally, the Supreme Court has been looking at this matter. New allegations have emerged. Very serious, explosive allegations have emerged. Is the Supreme Court going to look at this matter suo motu again?
Now, when the first time the Hindenburg Group attacked the Adani's, viewers, the matter again escalated into a massive political fight because the Congress, led by Rahul Gandhi, insinuated that Gautam Adani and his companies were actually shortchanging investors, ordinary Indians, by resorting to market manipulation. The Supreme Court constituted an expert committee that looked into these allegations, viewers, produced a report which the Supreme Court in early January of this year said basically did not in any way suggest that Mr. Adani did what Hindenburg accused Adani of doing. Now, viewers, because of that accusation, Hindenburg, which actually is a short seller, benefited by hundreds and thousands of rupees, going into crores, viewers, after there was a run on the Adani shares and the stock market fell. Viewers, amidst these fresh claims, counter-arguments and the war of word in the Hindenburg versus Adani issue, the whistleblower's 416-word-long disclaimer in its latest report is catching attention as it reveals that the activist cum short seller may be betting once again on the fall of Adani stocks to profit. Market regulator SEBI was the first one to warn investors that they should read the disclaimer in the report, saying that one should assume that Hindenburg Research may have short positions in the securities covered in the report. Here's breaking down Hindenburg's disclaimer in 4 points. Number 1, the disclaimer says that Hindenburg is no investment advisor. Hindenburg Research is not registered as an investment advisor in the United States or anywhere else in the world. The reports, therefore, are not recommendations. Number 2, short at your own risk. The disclaimer clearly states that the report is nothing but, quote, opinion and investigative commentary, unquote, and that readers should do their own due diligence. 3, Hindenburg may be short Adani once again. Hindenburg has in the past admitted to have made $4.1 million of gross revenue, but break even at net level through its first report on Adani in January 2023 by shorting stocks or bonds of the conglomerate. Its clients had also shorted Adani in the past. This time it said readers should assume that Hindenburg or its clients could have a short position in all stocks or bonds and or derivatives of the stock covered in the report. Fourth, Hindenburg said information in the report is presented, quote, as is, unquote, without warranty or any kind, whether expressed or implied. This advisory could be one of the reasons, perhaps, viewers, that markets largely shrugged off the report. The Sensex, while it had lost some points in the morning, pretty much ended on even keel. The Nifty ended in the green, at least the Nifty bank stock ended in the green, and also the Nifty mid-cap 100 range index also ended in the green. So let's open up this conversation, viewers, because many people are wondering if this time the India alliance has actually jumped the gun. Let's first begin with Gupta, Executive Securities Exchange Board of India. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for joining us. I want to ask you simply this: what do you make of the fresh round of Hindenburg charges, especially against SEBI?
Good evening. See, the first comment that I have is the report is nothing but a waste paper. It has nothing substantial to say to anything. If you get everything that is there, it is just my feeling that something is wrong. It is not happening, and I always say a public servant is always very vulnerable to criticism of people who do not know anything, who do not have any stake in criticizing or maligning a public servant. So I will say in one sentence, the report is not even worthy of being sent to the dustbin, because probably dustbin also will not like the report.
Okay, well, this is an interesting conclusion. Obviously, we don't want to trivialize this matter, viewers, because at the end of the day, a large number of people have positions in the market and they're common people, common folk. So let's get into this. I'll come back to you, Mr. Gupta, to understand why you think that this report is not even worth trash. But Sanjay Jha is here with us, so is Dr. Raman, Dr. Ranganathan, and of course Sanju Verma, who once again would have done her homework. She knows this subject very, very well, viewers, because she has been part of the financial markets in the past as a prominent banker. Now, Sanjay Jha, what exactly is the reason why the opposition is so worked up about this second iteration of the Hindenburg Research? What is it that is making the opposition think that SEBI cannot be trusted in investigating the Adanis?
Good evening, Rahul. Give me a little bit of time and I will also debunk what Mr. Gupta has just talked about and prove to you that what he said deserves to go to the dustbin equally. Point number one, the Bharatiya Janata Party is behaving not like a ruling party but like lawyers of the Adani Group, and that is a tragedy of Indian democracy. I can understand brazen batting for crony capitalism, but to become a handmaiden of the Adani Group for the ruling party, it's a shame. Honestly, it's a shame. The second point, I heard my good friend Ravi Shankar Prasad ji talk about this is an attack on India. I mean, can you imagine how absolutely crude and vulgar it is of the BJP to equate Mr. Adani to India? I mean, is India, the great country, been reduced to one industrial group that has seen a very extraordinary rise in its stock market fortunes, which is what Hindenburg has exposed as this being done in a very sleazy manner. Let me quickly come down to what Mr. Gupta said about the Hindenburg expose. Since he is apparently ex-SEBI and I haven't heard of him or met him before, here's a question for you, Mr. Gupta. Do you not find it weird, if not altogether disturbing and distressing, that the chairman of SEBI had invested in an offshore fund which had a deep interest of Mr. Vinod Adani, who's the brother of Mr. Gautam Adani, whose chief investment officer was a guy called Anil Ahuja, who, by the way, worked with the Adani Enterprises. And whether the chairman of SEBI even made these disclosures to the Supreme Court when she's investigating the Adani Group for the biggest stock market meltdown. For you, Mr. Gupta, this doesn't mean anything at all. I mean, I find that absolutely stunning in terms of the mendacity in your dismissal of the Hindenburg report. Point number two, very quickly, Rahul.
Yeah.
I've also been involved with two very serious investment bankers from banks from abroad. So we all know how to read a balance sheet and a P&L account. So let me put it up for you, because I'm sure you don't have unlimited time for this debate. But here is a question. End of day, all the transactions that have happened, the buying and selling of the stock exchange are through electronic transfers. It is not very difficult to make out who are the overseas entities. Even if they're hiding behind layers, you can make out who they are if you want to investigate it. SEBI, for the last year and a half, says we have hit a blank wall. Does anybody believe that? No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. When this government wanted to create a headline, they sent a Gulf jet, some airline jet, private jet, all the way to get Mehul Choksi. And of course, they did not get him because the idea was just to create a headline. I want to ask this question because SEBI reports to the finance ministry. It's not independent as we see it. It is really got a relationship like the RBI has with the finance ministry. What was the finance ministry doing? Because here is one data that will stun all your viewers. Viewers of CNN, News 18. In 2014, the net wealth of Adani was 4.5 billion. After Mr. Modi becomes the Prime Minister, in 2020, the net worth goes from 4.5 billion to 11 billion.
Okay.
More than double. Now, here is the story, Rahul. My last line. In 2021,
Yes.
that 11 billion becomes 76 billion.
Okay.
And a year later, Mr. Adani is the richest man in the world with 150 billion. And SEBI did not believe that it was something that had to be looked into.
Okay.
Because this was not
Okay.
a software company coming out with an AI technology.
Right. I understand
it was
that.
a blatant open and shut case, Rahul.
Look, I'm
Thank you
not
for the
here
time.
to hold any brief for anybody. I just also want to very quickly point that according to the IANS, which is a agency, a press agency, Rahul Gandhi actually has made some handsome profits investing in that stock market. He made 46.5 lakhs in just 5 months. At this rate, he could end up
Find out
actually
who owns
doing better.
IANS.
He could be doing
Find out
better.
who is the owner of
come on.
IANS.
Now, you know,
You'll be surprised.
they've put it out, they've tweeted
It's a
it.
big
Rahul Gandhi is
No,
free
that is
to
fine.
sue
I'm
them.
not, Rahul
I'm
Gandhi
just
may
saying.
have made money, but
Okay,
also find
he's
out who
made
owns
money.
IANS.
Okay, the same stock market that Rahul Gandhi says, don't put your money in, my friends, because you could end up burning your fingers. He is busy putting in a lot of money and making a lot on it, on his investments. 46, a half a crore viewers in just 4 months.
Comment, Rahul.
That's,
I mean,
no, I'm just saying. I'm not
What
holding a
is it
brief
got to
for
do with Adani?
anybody. There are just 3
Has
points.
Rahul Gandhi- is Rahul
Sanjay
Gandhi
Jha, I never
holding an
interrupted
Adani
you.
stock?
Now you
No,
can't
this is
speak
not
over
done.
me, please. That's not fair. I never interrupted anybody. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy of it all. Yes, viewers, people have got rich in this country. A large number of people have got very rich in very short period of time. They've done well for themselves. Those same people are being wooed by opposition parties, including the Congress, to invest in their states and make further money. So I don't understand this hypocrisy. Why do we go after the capitalists, etc., unless you have something really against them? Bring it out, take them to the cleaners, no problems. A couple of points. Sanjay Jha began with 2 rhetorical points, viewers. Ruling party, lawyers for Adani. That can be said about the Congress. They are apparently taking Hindenburg at its word, even though Hindenburg has put out an advisory saying that, look, we have certain stakes in these companies. We will benefit if the stocks fall because we are short sellers at the end of the day. So is the Congress party by the same yardstick working for a quid pro quo? I don't know, viewers. That could be said. So 2 rhetorical points we need to remove. There's an attack on India, this, that, the other. Well, all of that is fine. Set it across. Yes, there is one question that I must put to the BJP spokesperson. Now, this is an important one. Ms. Verma, do you believe that Madhavi Butch, because she hasn't put out that part of the question that has been raised, did she make a full disclosure to the Supreme Court about her conflict of interest while she was part of this investigation? Because that is the one area that her statement hasn't really gone into, and that is raising a few questions or eyebrows.
Rahul, we are 16 minutes into the debate.
Yeah.
My only request is I did not interject Sanjay Jha even once.
Yes.
I need my time.
Yes.
Before you start telling me, Sanju Verma, let's put the faders down because
Okay.
I don't want to be heckled. Now with that disclaimer out, let me make a few points for the benefit of your viewers. First and foremost, for the Congress panelists to sit here and say that Mr. J.N. Gupta apparently worked for the SEBI, I think that is humiliating. Mr. J.N. Gupta was with SEBI between 1994 and 1996 and then took over as executive director of SEBI in July 2009. He's a renowned figure in his own right. So I don't think any panelist on your panel, much less the Congress, has the right to humiliate J.N. Gupta, a renowned SEBI veteran. And if he says Hindenburg report needs to be consigned to the dustbin, so be it. Point number 1. So thank you, Mr. J.N. Gupta, for saying as much without mincing words. Now, point number 2, I will come to your question, but I need to respond to some of the allegations. First and foremost, there are 7 listed companies of Adani Group today. 5 out of these 7 listed Adani Group companies came into existence during the Congress regime. The commodity trading business of Adani came into existence in 1988 when Amar Singh Chaudhary was the Gujarat Chief Minister and Rajiv Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi's father, was the Prime Minister. Adani Enterprises, the flagship Adani Group company, came about in 1990 to 93, again when Congress's P.V. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister. Adani was given land at the rate of 10 rupees per square meter for the first SEZ that Adani set up way back in 2006. The first in-principle approval for Adani to take over Mundra port came when the Congress-led UPA was in power. Today, Adani is executing $4 billion worth of projects in Telangana. Adani had order book size of 78,000 crore from Rajasthan alone when Ashok Gehlot was the chief minister, and Adani was given blanket permission to mine coal from the Chhattisgarh forest when Bhupesh Baghel was the chief minister of Chhattisgarh before he was booted out in December 2023. Now that I have showcased that Adani has been mollycoddled much more by the Congress regimes than the BJP, the question that begets an answer is, did Madhavi Puri Butch not make complete disclosures? One by one, I will answer for the benefit of your audience. There are three firms that have come into the center of the controversy. One is Agora Advisory. Madhavi Puri Butch's investment in Agora is dormant. She redeemed her investments in Agora when she became a full-time member in 2017, a full-time member of the SEBI. She made these investments in Agora in 2015. The second fund where Dhaval Butch, her husband, and Madhavi have had investment, or pecuniary advantages, pecuniary benefits, commercial benefits, was a fund floated by IIFL, a known brokerage house. The concerned fund is called IPE Plus One. Now, Rahul Gandhi and his entire ecosystem said IPE Plus One invested in Adani Group shares, and since Madhavi Butch and Dhaval Butch invested in IPE Plus One, Dhaval Butch, Madhavi Butch have a nexus with Adani. Now, IIFL has clearly showcased, put out the portfolio. Never in its entire history has IPE Plus One directly or indirectly invested in any Adani Group company. Now, the third person at the center of the controversy is Anil Ahuja. Who is Anil Ahuja? Anil Ahuja is the Chief Investment Officer of IPE Plus One. Anil Ahuja is not just a batchmate of Dhaval Butch from their IIT Delhi days. I know of Anil Ahuja. Anil Ahuja worked with Citibank. Anil Ahuja worked with JP Morgan. Anil Ahuja worked with 3-1 Capital. And yes, Anil Ahuja also happened to be a director at Adani Enterprises before he left all that and started his own fund called the IPE Plus under the aegis of IIFL. My last point is this, Rahul. Disclosure norms always suggest that there is a cool-off period. Imagine now, I have worked in the biggest. Now, when we used to get big orders from, say, JP Morgan, some orders used to come in late at night from the US desk. Early morning, when we used to come to the trading desk, we used to realize, acha bhai, aaj to ye share kharidna hai, you have to buy 2 million shares of this. We were told that no trader, no investment banker can invest now in these shares for the next 7 days or next 15 days. You cannot use your mobile phones on the floor of the house, but it does floor of the trading desk.
Okay.
And no one can trade derivatives for the next 20 days. Please wait now. But there is never a blanket permission that aap kabhi given shares mein invest kar hi nahi sakte. And if you have redeemed those shares before you become a full-time director, which is what Madhavi Butch did, then there is no quid pro quo whereby she benefited unduly. And my last point, and this is the most important one. And the last one, please bear with me for 10. I've put out this tweet which has gone viral. I have asked just 3 questions. Rahul Gandhi, are you a close friend of Mark Kingdon of Kingdon Capital? Rahul Gandhi, are you friends with Anla Cheng, the wife of Mark Kingdon? Did Nathan Anderson of Hindenburg, Mark Kingdon and Anla Cheng connive with malafide intent to target SBI and LIC? Then and now SBI under the garb of disclosures. Please note, Mark and Anla made huge windfall gains last year after Adani's stock price crashed. Did Rahul Gandhi benefit too in that crash where Adani stocks were... Please let me...
Rahul, one second, I need to open this up. Now, one second. Sanjay Jhaji, 1 minute, please. I have to open this up also.
News. I need to give a rejoinder, a clarification for your viewers.
Okay, what is it?
30 seconds.
What is it? Please go ahead. What is it?
Okay. Yeah. The most important point that I think the BJP folks forgot. The Prime Minister during the campaign himself admitted that there is a lot of black
Talk
money
about
with Adani.
National Herald scam.
Tempos.
Prime Minister
One second, please, we can't have this. If you guys speak over each other, the other panelists are not going to get a chance.
Correct.
I only
अभियान के दौरान खुद ही कहा था कि टेम्पो में काला धन अदानी अंबानी के पास है, तो हम तो यही
Okay, that is all rhetoric. Now let's not bring in, let's stick to the issue here, please. Lower everyone's faders, stick to the issue, please. I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan, I also want to bring in Dr. Raman. No, 1 second, let's stick to this issue, please. 1 second. Dr. Ranganathan and Dr. Raman, let me bring you in. I think Mr. Gupta has stated a point. Dr. Ranganathan, sorry, it's taken me till 1924 to come to you. Miss Verma had 8 minutes exactly, and Sanjay Jha had another 6.23, 6 minutes, 23 seconds. So both of them have had a long introduction. Dr. Ranganathan, what would you like to say about this? Because there is still one question. While everyone is speaking for Ms. Bush, there is one disclosure to the Supreme Court.
Rahul, it's been an absolutely wonderful discussion, I have to say this. So I did not mind coming in second from last. Dr. Sumant Raman is also waiting for his turn. So please bear with me for 2 or 3 minutes. I need to make 3 very quick points. The Indian stock market, that far from crashing had an intraday high of 80,000, has, I guess, answered Hindenburg and Rahul. I really don't know the difference between the two now. One is a short seller and the other sells himself short. 3 things, Rahul, are constant in life: death, taxes, and Rahul Gandhi being an industrial scale hypocrite. I have said this before and I repeat, making sense of him is as easy as consuming rasam with chopsticks. He said yesterday, and I quote, there is a tweet there, you can verify, quote, there is a significant risk in investing in the Indian stock market because the institution that governs it is compromised, unquote. Really? This is how you are talking about our Indian stock market? This is the same Rahul Gandhi who has earned 46 lakhs in the last 5 months through investments in the same stock market that he says is compromised. If he has any integrity, he should donate those 46 lakhs to the Wayanad Disaster Relief Fund. Number 2, Rahul, I have said this before as well, I am ambivalent about the success or failure of a private company because its path is dictated by competition through Darwinian evolution. If the company is honest and develops great products and adapts to the changing environment, it will succeed. So I view the success or failure of Adani as gravely or as lightly as the success or failure of Reliance or Lehman Brothers or Nokia. What concerns me as an Indian is that my nation's wealth is not wiped out, that the barometer of my nation's prosperity, the stock exchange, does not suffer, that millions of my fellow countrymen do not become poorer because the stock of an Indian company in which our government is heavily invested in is wiped out because of a claim. And it is not enough for people to say that India has enough checks and balances to detect fraud in time. We clearly don't. Judging by the Malia and Nirav Modi and Harshad Mehta and Ketan Parikh fiascos. Rahul, if we don't take these issues seriously, we might as well shut down our stock exchange and instead start exchanging rumors and gossips regarding billion-dollar corporations and then dance at their funeral. Short-changing a private company is one thing, but all of us have a stake in making sure no one short-changes India. Therefore, it was crucial that an independent Indian agency investigate the entire Hindenburg Adani issue, and the Supreme Court did. Which brings me very quickly to point number 3. When it comes to conflict of interest, I'm afraid we Indians understand conflict, we understand interest, but not when separated by a preposition. Here is how I see it, very briefly. The Supreme Court asked SEBI chief to investigate Adani. It all boils down to the following. Did the SEBI chief disclose to the Supreme Court that 1, she and her husband had invested in an offshore fund that had sworn, risking perjury, that it had never bought Adani bonds or stock? 2, that the said fund was run by a man who was on the board of Adani companies and a director of Adani Enterprises? 3, that the said fund was also invested in by the brother of Gautam Adani and allegedly used for manipulating Adani stocks? If she did, then I don't see any problem, except for the fact that the Supreme Court should also have made this disclosure public, because as the ultimate overseer of the regulator and arbiter of justice, it was the Supreme Court's duty to make sure the perception of SEBI in the world's eye is totally above board when it is adjudicated on alleged malpractice. The Supreme Court is as yet silent on this matter. It should not be. It should come out and declare one way or the other its faith in Miss Butch and SEBI.
That's an important point, viewers, because it comes back to that. Now, the Supreme Court in its judgment, Dr. Raman, did say that SEBI is the credible arbiter. It looked at all the facts and made this assumption, which it then locked into the judgment, and it became a declaration. So then what are we worried about?
Okay, Rahul, first of all, a few points. One, I have always maintained that it is not the job of the BJP or those who support Mr. Modi to defend anyone and anybody who is actually accused by an external agency. Now, has Mr. Modi been accused by Hindenburg? Has the BJP been accused by Hindenburg? Why are they jumping in defense of Madhavi Puri Bhuj? It is her cross to bear. She is going to say whether she is innocent or guilty. But, as the old saying goes, don't protest too much. Why would the entire ecosystem come out? This is all rubbish. Nothing is there. Okay, Hindenburg is not doing this for charity. He is not doing this out of the goodness of his heart that India should have a robust regulatory system. He is doing it to short the market. Let's assume he is a crook. Okay, let's do that. Now, he is bringing certain charges. Many of these charges, the lady herself has accepted. She has not denied it. She has not said, I have not made the investment. She said, I made it 2 years before I joined SEBI, which is fine. And there are also the issue of the two consulting companies which are being run. She says they became dormant in point number 11 of her response, and then point number 12, she said, my husband continued to operate them. There are a lot of contradictions. Now, my point is very simple. When there are two issues here. One, is there illegality? We don't know yet. I don't know. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. But is there conflict of interest? There sure as hell is. I mean, if you say that this is not conflict of interest, you need to redefine what conflict of interest actually means. Her husband is doing consulting by her own admission in a firm which is owned by her in India and where she has transferred the shares to her husband in Singapore, and that continues to generate revenue. Who are the people who are paying this company?
Okay, so let me ask Mr. Jain Gupta.
Are there companies which are being regulated under SEBI?
Okay, I'm going to bring in Mr. Jain Gupta. Mr. Jain Gupta, has a full disclosure been made? Ought it to have been made in public interest in the very beginning by Ms. Butch? That is a fundamental question. And if it hasn't, is there not a problem?
I will tell you first, I thank you, Sanjeev Verma, for trying to protect me. But since I have been a public servant, so public servants are immune to any criticism because they do what their conscience feel. Okay, so that is not the whosoever, whatever. Now, I will say a couple of things. One is this, what is the definition of conflict of interest? And till how the conflict of interest continue. If you recall this judgment of Supreme Court in the same Adani case, there was an allegation made against one of the member that member had consulted or given opinion to Adani, and Supreme Court said you got to draw a line beyond which you cannot try to invent the conflict. Now here the situation is that investment was made in 2015 when she was not even remotely connected to SEBI, and investment is made in a vehicle or an investment firm where she invested maybe 1 or 2% of the thing.
Yeah.
And when you make an investment, what you see that if the firm registered, it is whatever license are required is there or not, the firm does KYC of yours, and they. Now what we are expecting is that when I am investing in a mutual fund does my KYC, I look their certification, but I should ask the mutual fund that who are your 2 lakh subscriber, give me their KYC. If I am comfortable with those people, I will invest. If I not. Second, then I should ask the fund that wherever you are investing, just let me assure that nobody is distantly connected with me or there is no conflict. So that was in 2015. And in 2023, you are asking 8 years later that what was your relationship? So even if there was a issue that it was invested in Adani, but was in 2015, Adani was such a fear that you should not be touching Adani shares.
Okay.
So what I mean to say, it is one. The second most important point I want to make
Rahul
is I don't want to get into the political battle. I just want to say, please do not malign your regulator. SEBI today is one of the
Sir,
most.
is it all right? Is it all right for the regulator
Let's
to
not
have
speak.
a
No, no, gentlemen,
company?
I am
I
not
don't
entertaining
intervene
anyone
in
else.
between.
Is it okay
I'm not
for a
entertaining
consulting
anyone
company
else.
to
I'm
have
only
a
entertaining
company?
Mr. Gupta.
Sir, I will not stop because it is about the organization.
Okay.
Integrity of the organization.
Okay, well, viewers, that unfortunately,
let me
no one is above question. No one is above question.
there is a
One second,
question.
everyone,
Has
faders, please
consulting
down. No
Rahul,
one is
can I-
above question, viewers. We are only trying here to put all the points of view in the public domain. This is not a court of arbitration. And I would tend to agree, still, that in the interest of full disclosure, we should know if Madhvi Buch actually did recuse herself when it came to certain issues, when it came to investigations, and that is easily doable. Either the Supreme Court does it, or Ms. Buch herself come out and clarify once again. She has said, however, that she will be putting out more details in connection with this. We'll wait, viewers, because right now we are not jumping to any conclusions. Let's wait, let's see what happens. I want to move on because this story, viewers, curdles the blood. The rape and murder of a junior doctor in Kolkata is a horrific crime. The facts are enough to, as I told you, make the blood run cold. The reports reveal that the accused has beaten up the victim when she tried to resist and protect herself before being raped and murdered. As per the autopsy report, cut marks were found on the victim's hands and face. The reports indicated that a brutal blow caused shards of a glass spectacles to break and pierce her eyes. Injuries to the head were also reported as the accused slammed the deceased head against the wall before violating her and then finally strangled her, viewers. Strangled her. This crime was convicted between this crime was committed between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. on Friday morning. During the victim's shift, the suspect Sanjay Roy, arrested in connection to rape murder, police remand till August 23. The suspect was a volunteer in the police welfare cell stationed to the outpost near RG Kar Hospital. Apparently, viewers, he had a record in the past which was somehow overlooked, and he continued, therefore, despite his background, to have had access to all departments at this hospital, reportedly charged patients for admissions and beds. The CCTV caught Sanjay Roy near the scene of the crime at around 4 a.m. on Friday mornings, and the cops recovered blood-stained shoes, Bluetooth headset found near the victim linked to the accused. Sanjay Roy has reportedly admitted the crime. Police suspect the involvement of accomplices. The tardy reaction to the crime has compelled doctors around the country, as you can see, viewers, in the middle of your screens, to hold massive protests. They're not just demanding justice from Mamta's government in Bengal, but also assurances. And viewers, therefore, let's ask some fundamental questions tonight, because let me tell you, viewers, part of the reason for the outrage stems from the nature of the unanswered questions that suggest that the accused had a criminal record and that the hospital failed to carry out due diligence before providing him unfettered access. Why was the accused given unfettered access to the hospital? Were charges of misconduct ignored against this person, and why was it so? Is it true the accused previously worked in the hospital also? Can the police ensure fair probe with his link to the welfare board? And should the state hand over the case to the CBI to ensure justice? The crime has triggered a war of words, with the BJP targeting the West Bengal government as also India Bloc for its wishy-washy stance, which is in stark contrast to the fervent protest march and piercing demands for the resignation, for example, of UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath in the aftermath of the Hathras outrage a few years ago. So let's ask some questions, viewers. Let me bring in Professor Monojit Mondal straight off. He is a great sympathizer of the TMC government. Professor Monojit Mondal, let me ask you this question. Should Mamta Banerjee step down? The TMC was demanding the resignation of Yogi Adityanath in the Hathras, in the aftermath of the Hathras crime. That was a horrific crime also. There have been clear, absolutely clear and this is undeniable now. Lapses.
What is clear? What is
lapses.
clear, absolutely
lapses, Professor Mondol. Lapses. Big glaring ones for which the principal has also stood down from his post. And there is talk that this is a wider racket flourishing under your administration. Why shouldn't therefore the Chief Minister step down, since you ask for resignations willy-nilly at every stage of the BJP?
It is the Chief Minister who has ensured justice within a span of few hours.
No justice.
The culprit was nabbed.
No justice.
No, please, now stop. Listen to this. Within a few hours, this culprit has been nabbed. Even the Chief Minister today said, if you do not find any confidence in the police by Sunday, the case will be handed over to the CBI. The Chief Minister made the statement. But though we believe that justice will be done by the Kolkata police, you talk of resignation, then the Prime Minister of this country should resign 10 times because he could not handle the Manipur crime. Those horrendous
do not shift the goalposts, Mr. Mondol. I'm only quoting back to you what your party mates constantly demand of the Prime Minister. Why shouldn't that now apply to the Chief Minister of Bengal?
You started this politics of resignation.
I didn't.
That is
I asked you a fundamental question exposing the hypocrisy of it all. Viewers, let me tell you. One second. One second. Professor Mondol, one second. Don't shout. Calm down. The point is, viewers, if a political party is going to... we have to lower his fader because he's just going to keep screaming, which is not acceptable. Okay, viewers, the reason this question was posed, it's very simple. Because this question is constantly posed by the opposition of the Prime Minister at the centre. Now, if you set the bar that high, and when there is a heinous crime of this nature in your own state, you must apply the same rule to yourself. Should you not, viewers? And if you don't, what does that make you? Anyhow, I'm not answering that question. Let me quickly bring in Dr. Ranganathan as well as Sanju Verma. Mr. Mondol has decided to walk off. I don't know why. He lost his rag so much that he walked off. But nonetheless, viewers, these things happen. I will speak to him after the show. But Dr. Ranganathan, yes, very quickly.
Rahul, this is an absolutely horrendous incident. I cannot even find words to describe my sympathies and my, I don't know what to say, condolences, too timid a word, with the family and the bereaved. The justice has to be done and it has to be swift. And I'm glad that the perpetrator has been at least apprehended and arrested. But then again, the same rules that apply to people that the opposition applies to the ruling dispensation, that is the BJP, the same rules should apply here. Yes, absolutely, and I've said this before, 35,000 rapes happen in this country and each rape is as heinous and as barbaric as the next. So one should not demarcate which one is more barbaric and which one is other. The question that you are asking is that where is the sensitivity? Where is the the alacrity with which such cases are being dealt? And where is the confidence? Let me remind you that it was the same Ms. Mamata Banerjee who in the infamous Nadia incident in 2022 started victim blaming. She said, was it actually a rape or a love affair? And it was the same Mamata Banerjee who in 2012, if I am not mistaken, said that the Park Street horrendous gang rape incident was a fabricated incident, which led to one of her leaders of the TMC say that the Park Street rape was a misunderstanding between a woman and her client. This is what is happening. If BJP leaders and ministers were to say such things, NYT and WAPO would be writing column yards on this.
Okay.
But of course, Rahul, to rule. That is the issue out here, Rahul.
Okay, so let me just very quickly, yes, I'll just put you in. Just very quickly give you the NCRB records, which are the National Crime Records Bureau. West Bengal recorded 33,218 crimes against women in 2015. 10% of the total number of crimes against women in India that year. In 2021, there were 4,28,278 reported incidents of crime, an 87% increase from 2011 viewers. 65% of Indian men believe women should tolerate violence to keep the family together. This is also data, viewers, that has come out. Now, if you were to extend this particular yardstick and amplify it, and then look at why the principal of that college has had to step down, perhaps you will be able to put two and two together, viewers. This is shocking. This is absolutely shocking. Yes, Sanju Verma. Why are you demanding Chief Minister's resignation?
You know, Rahul, as Mr. Ranganathan mentioned, I think this is such a blood-curdling and horrifying crime that no amount of words and no amount of debates on national television can understand the pain of what the girl's family is going through. I'm told she was their only daughter, their only child. Be that as it may, since this is a debate and facts is what we are here to discuss, I will just say a couple of things. First and foremost, Mamata Banerjee is not only the Chief Minister, but the only woman Chief Minister today in the all of India. She is also the Home Minister of West Bengal. And you've read out some data. Let me tell you, I culled out the average data of NCRB in the last 3 years. 2.8 lakh sexual assault cases and crimes against women in 2021, 3.49 lakh cases of rape, sexual assaults and crimes against women and children in 2022, and more than 4.31 lakh cases against women in terms of sexual violence. And mind you, when it comes to conviction for crimes against women, Mamata Banerjee takes the cake and the icing. The conviction rate is a measly 2.7% as per the last available NCRB data. My simple point is this, and this is something that Suvendu Adhikari has tweeted, and nobody from TMC has rebutted this. So I assume what he's saying is true, and this is proven by the RG Kar Medical College records. Thrice the professor or principal, as you will, Sandeep Ghosh, was removed from RG Kar Medical College. To Murshidabad, at a hospital in Murshidabad. He came back to RG Kar Medical College within to Murshidabad. My last point is this. What is the compulsion of Mamata Banerjee that she does not remove the DGP of West Bengal, Rajiv Kumar, who's himself an accused in the Narada and Sarada scams and is facing trial in the Alipur trial court? Okay. Has the law and order minister of West Bengal, Maulai Ghat, Women and Child Development Minister of Mamata Banerjee resigned? No. So Mamata Banerjee has been
Big charges are being made by the BJP tonight, viewers. Obviously, these crimes take place across the country in different states. And we know that very few upstanding, morally upright ministers of women and child development, etc., take responsibility and quit. No one is expecting that, but one at least is expecting, viewers, the lowest common denominator connecting all these crimes is a free and fair investigation so that those people who are at the heart of it are put in jail. Let's hope that happens, viewers. But let this also be a reminder of the perils of playing politics over crimes, viewers. Because if you do, then be prepared to also answer questions. Let's move on, viewers, because when we talk about crimes, there is no bigger one than the one that is you're witnessing in Bangladesh and that is unfolding on your screens. They know they are witnessing the end, their own genocide, much like millions of mashlings knew when they were sent off to be starved and then gassed in concentration camps run by the Nazis, sworn to Hitler's demonic racial fetishes. That fear of certain annihilation at the hands of Islamist brigands has led thousands of Hindus to stage a protest march on the streets of Dhaka amidst the anarchy in Bangladesh. It's very much the proverbial last throw of the dice. Unfortunately, in this game of chance, the odds of anyone noticing are, without exaggeration, very long. Unlike the Mishling, the legal pejorative used in Nazi Germany to describe anyone denoted non-Aryan for whom the free world rose up in arms, Hindus of Bangladesh have been abandoned by the Indian government and the political establishment in India at large. That's why some have chosen to here these letters with CNN News 18 signed by among many signatories Dr. Anand Ranganathan, who is here with us. Why, Dr. Ranganathan, have you pressed the alarm bell? What is the motivation? What would you like from your government? Are you happy whether the government is done enough?
Rahul, it is that we have because your family escaped a genocide 33 years ago. And now we are talking about another genocide that is happening right before our eyes. But as I have said this before, I do not blame the jihadis and the Islamists for this. This is what they do. I blame us Indians, and I'll tell you why. Because for the last 2 to 3 days, these Hindus, Bangladeshi Hindus who have escaped rape, murder, pillaging, certain death, are standing patiently, shivering, quivering in chest-high waters of Teesta that is infested with snakes and alligators. They are waiting to be let in. What is our dharma? I ask. Nobody is asking, least of all I, asking the gates to be opened and for them to come to India and roam freely. No. Can we not have containment facilities or detention centers, like it, whatever you call, and then process each and every application? At least we will give them a breathing space, a relief for a couple of days or maybe more, so that they are safe, their families are safe. Nobody is asking the gates to be opened and then for them to go from one state to the other. Let us have a containment facility. At least they will be not turned back to their certain death. That is what we, a lot of other people, Jay Sai, your friends, are beseeching this government to do. We are not asking the government to give them a free visa so that they can roam around in the entire country. But yet again, victims of a genocide, Rahul, that centuries upon centuries, your ancestors, your relatives escaped from, and were also perpetrated against.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ranganathan, for joining this chorus and adding influence to it. I just hope that the Indian government wakes up. Otherwise, it's in danger, really, of losing the plot. I leave it at this, viewers.
Proper rule needs to be implemented on ground is the demand with which these doctors in huge numbers are sitting at Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital. Not just Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, we have been given to understand all the 10 government hospitals across Delhi. The resident doctors are going to demand justice and are going to be sitting on strike starting today. Well, but obvious the elective services are going to get affected because mostly the resident doctors help the hospital when it comes to the elective services. But when it comes to the emergency services, that is not going to be impacted is what the doctors are saying, because the in-house doctors and the consultant doctors will continue to carry on with their work. But meanwhile, the elective services in multiple hospitals in Delhi is going to get affected because you can see these are the visuals that we are bringing to you, live visuals from RML hospitals. These are the resident doctors, their association. Today, FODA is in fact decided that they are going to sit on protest. Tomorrow, FIMA, which is another Federation for Indian Medical Association that is going to go on strike, are in fact going to go on strike. So it is clearly going to impact the services. I will speak to some of them here. क्योंकि आप लोग यहाँ पे इकट्ठा हुए हैं, कहीं ना कहीं सर्विसेज, इलेक्टिव सर्विसेज भी इफेक्ट करेंगी, तो उसके लिए आप लोगों ने क्या सोचा है?
जी, हम माना कि इलेक्टिव सर्विस सारी बंद है, लेकिन डॉक्टर्स ने फिर भी अपनी तरफ से सारी कोशिश की है। स्ट्राइक आज सुबह से चालू हुई है, लेकिन हमने मेजॉरिटी ऑफ पेशेंट्स का काम कल शाम को करके रखा है, इसलिए कि ताकि पेशेंट्स को कोई दिक्कत ना हो। पर ये गवर्नमेंट और अथॉरिटीज को भी सोचना चाहिए कि अगर कोई विमेन अपनी वर्किंग प्लेस पे सेफ नहीं है तो वो कैसे काम कर सकती है। आज यहाँ पे सबकी ड्यूटीज लगती है 24 आवर्स 36 आवर्स, तो उसमें भी ओवरनाइट वर्क है, तो वो कहाँ जाएगी? रुकने के लिए जगह नहीं होती है मैम रात को। यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे जो गवर्नमेंट का इनिशिएटिव है कि हर महिला सुरक्षित रहे उनके लिए, और टॉयलेट प्रेमिसेस भी बने, वो भी तक साफ सुथरे नहीं होते। तो फिर एक कोई डॉक्टर कैसे इतना सेफ फील कर सकता है, कैसे 36 आवर्स की ड्यूटी कर सकता है। तो हम चाहते हैं कि गवर्नमेंट इस तरफ ध्यान दे और जो अभी जघन्य अपराध हुआ है उसके लिए एक सीबीआई इंक्वायरी हो और सेंट्रल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट लागू है, यही हमारी मुख्य मांग है।
देखिए, सिर्फ दिल्ली में नहीं, पूरे देश भर में डॉक्टर्स जो है स्ट्राइक पे जा रहे हैं। अब एक अक्यूज जो है वो अरेस्ट हुआ है, तो और क्या डिमांड है आपकी और कितनी डिमांड है?
सही बात ये है, असली बात ये है कि जिसको गिरफ्तार किया गया है वो एक स्केपगोट है, वो बलि का बकरा है। असली जो मुजरिम है वो घूम रहे हैं और ये एक आदमी का काम नहीं है, इसमें 2 से 3 लोग इन्वॉल्व है। ये गैंग रेप का मामला है, ये निर्भया पार्ट 2 है। तो जब तक उनको गिरफ्तार नहीं किया जाएगा उसके लिए हमें सीबीआई जांच चाहिए। बिना सीबीआई जांच आजकल के जो गैर जिम्मेवार अथॉरिटीज है उनको परमानेंटली जब तक नहीं हटाया जाएगा और जब तक सेंट्रल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट जो कि एक डॉक्टर्स के प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट हो वो नहीं आता, तब तक यह हड़ताल जारी रहेगी। हमने इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज को बिल्कुल भी हैम्पर नहीं किया है, इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज चल रही है, बट अगर हम सेफ नहीं है तो हम कैसे अपने पेशेंट को सेफ्टी दे सकते हैं, तो हम मजबूर हैं।
So you heard her, she's saying that the emergency services have not been impacted at all, but the elective services of course are going to be impacted in some of the hospitals, but they have been saying until and unless they don't from the resident doctors who are sitting on strike here. You can see behind me, these are the resident doctors of Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital in the national capital who are in fact sitting on infinite strike, and they are in fact demanding justice as far as the victim is concerned and also compensation to the victim's family. We'll speak to some of them who have in fact gathered here. With what demand are you sitting on?
Our first demand is that we likely to bring a focus of people on this situation. This case is not less than an Nirbhaya case that we had in Delhi. So I want to every society and government focus on this case, and along with this we want a focus on the almost 4 to 5 incidences of FIR launched against the doctors. There are incidents of gunshot in GTP hospital last month, and there's many incidents of violences increasing day by day against doctors.
So one accused in the case has been arrested, but that is not enough is what you're saying.
On the case we want to say we want a CBI inquiry, because as the case is
with all the climate change happening over the globe, it's right that we take initiative to control it. Planting and nurturing tree being one of them. I think CNBC TV 18 is doing such a wonderful job on taking an initiative of planting and nurturing. Not only planting, nurturing is one of the major steps to get the environment under control.
There was a psychotic problem angle of the case. So the administration of the hospital tried to save the actual culprits. So we want a CBI inquiry for the case.
What are the demands? Because this is not the first time that the doctors are sitting on strike. There have been Protection Act that you always wanted. With what more demands are you sitting?
First of all, we want the investigation are getting people from our fraternity that the facts are being hidden. The people are trying to hide the person who has actually committed, and they are trying to scapegoat some other person. So we want that the investigation should be thorough and it should be clear and should be evident to everyone. Second, we want that the protection should be applied throughout the country, because there are numerous episodes against violence against the doctors, which have been reported in the past too many times, but no action has been taken so far. But now this time it has increased to this extent कि वो रेप तक चला गया है. So अगर अभी भी हम लोग अपने डॉक्टर्स के अगेंस्ट कोई स्टेप नहीं लेंगे, तो what else do we want? So this is one thing we want. So we all are looking for Central Protection Act, that the doctors, the saviors should be saved. And we should not sit like this to ask for protection against women. We are serving the society. We do not want you plead to ask for justice for us.
So these are some of the voices that are coming in from the protest side. You can see the kind of posters with which they are being denied. So you can see rape, murder of an on-duty doctor. This is not acceptable. With these demands, you can see how the number of resident doctors are in fact sitting on strike here. Now, this is not just the scene that is going to happen in National Capital. A call of strike has been given for across the country for doctors. So not just in Delhi, but Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab, all these states are going to go on strike probably by today or by tomorrow, because these doctors have been demanding that there needs to be a Protection Act, because when it comes to these doctors, their life is in jeopardy. They have.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan coming to you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studios. First up, ladies and gentlemen, Bharat's domestic food market was set to grow by over 47% to US dollar 1,274 billion by 2027, driven by innovative startups. The report released at the CII Food Pro 2024 highlighted the potential of southern states, with Tamil Nadu leading in exports. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs data reveals that, reflecting the favorable business climate in the country, the number of new company and LLP incorporations has also increased by nearly 5% so far this fiscal year, reaching 91,578 compared to 87,379 previously. Fast-moving consumer goods and white goods makers are expecting a 40% growth